Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. When we hear the word volunteer, always we attach a positive connotation to it. But sometimes volunteers volunteer to do stupid or illegal stuff. That's why we have to be mindful when someone said, well, I'm going to volunteer, or they're volunteering for this or that. Obviously, we as humans, we have preferences. So when we have preferences and we are trying to discuss an issue, we tend to ignore and don't accept or just, information that would run against or will make our feelings be hurt, make us uncomfortable. But that would keep us away from finding the truth, because finding the truth takes courage, objectivity, looking at the issue from as many angles as possible, and be intellectually honest with yourself and morally honest with yourself. But intellectually, you have to be anyway. Morally, plays a role as well. So what I'm trying to say is that for finding truth, you have to accept facts, evidence, historical events that are there, even though they might be uncomfortable to you, if you want to understand an issue that is related with some of those facts. In this case, we have some Polish volunteers who decide to create a legion, the Polish Legion, and fight in Ukraine. Now, obviously, if you have a certain kind of worldview, you would obviously hail this as fantastic. But if you have a different one or different ones, because there are people who might have different worldviews, is not only A and B, as these guys are trying to tell us. Could be C, D, E, and so on. So I say Polish Legion, right? Polish Legion to fight for Ukraine. Now, Polish, they're good because now they're on the right side, right, of the situation. Ukraine was attacked unprovokedly by the Russians. So Kiev is setting up another foreign volunteer unit, according to Onet news portal. This is reported by Russia Today on February 16, 2023. So what can you dislike about foreign volunteer units? They must be good. Well, let me give you this. This is Waffen-SS foreign volunteers and conscripts. So this is not to paint these guys in a bad light. I'm just trying to point out that volunteers are not always good people fighting for the good. And believe me, some of these guys right here and this, some regretted fighting for this SS, for the Nazis. Some didn't. Some felt they were regretful. Some, said well, and a lot of them died anyway. So here we have it, Waffen-SS foreign volunteers, and these were from all over the world, all over. It says in total some 500,000 non-Germans and ethnic Germans from outside Germany, mostly from German-occupied Europe, were recruited between 1940 and 1945. Do you remember, or do you know what was the unit who defended Hitler's bunker? Führer bunker in April 30th, 1945, when the Soviet army was around it. It was the Charlemagne, I think you say it, Charlemagne SS Waffen French. They were French. So the French were defending the most evil person in the world against the Soviets. So anyway, volunteers. So let's go back to this article here, and I'm just, raising awareness that volunteers are not always good. On the other hand, you don't know who's been in a volunteer unit. Remember, I said this already for some time, which is about a month and a half ago, a few times, that I suspect or I'm expecting NATO troops to be involved in Ukraine under euphemisms, which would be love-keeping forces, love-making forces, peacekeeping forces, something, or volunteer. All these will be volunteers. Why? And I give you the example. This will be recruited outside of Ukraine. They will sign some paperwork. We're volunteers and then come over there. Could be regular military. They just sign some paper here. Everything organized. They go over there in Ukraine. They fight as units belonging to the so-and-so country. And when they get shot, they will have the paperwork saying that they're volunteers. And they can prove, yes, they are volunteers. They went to, I don't know, Krakow. And in that recruitment office, they signed their volunteers. Well, from United States, I don't know, 10,000s of them, because they love democracy and freedom, and they fight the evil Russians. That has been done before in different ways. I have to point out, for instance, the Vietnam War. The Americans, before they were actively involved, like right now in the Vietnam War, the Americans had military advisors on the ground in Vietnam. And said, they're just advisors. And then we found out, no, they were fighting. There were units actively fighting. So, if you know certain things and you don't know, you can just find it or open a few books. If you didn't do it already, and this is not news for you, then that's great. Then you know exactly what I'm talking about here. Volunteers are not by definition good, because they could be volunteered for a bad thing, Waffen-SS as an example, or for a good thing, Ukraine. All right, I will poke you my eye here with these glasses. All right, let's go and see what else this article says. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry has approved the creation of a special forces unit composed entirely of volunteers from Poland. Coming from Poland. The Polish news outlet Onet claimed on Friday. The decision was reportedly made in Kiev after earlier this week. The unit's organizer, a Polish citizen who has fought in Ukraine since last February, met with representatives of the Defense Ministry on Wednesday, the outlet said. The unit will probably be named the Polish Volunteer Legion and won't be an quote-unquote typical frontline unit, but an elite group charged with reconnaissance, sabotage, and other special tasks. If this would be a Russian unit, and we say won't be a typical frontline unit, it will be called mercenary or hit squad. But no, here is just a elite group. This is the euphemism. All right, I'm just saying, it's just funny for me to see how these guys are doing mental gymnastics and semantics gymnastics with us. Use euphemism for things. Okay, yeah. If you haven't been around the block a few times, you think, oh yeah, they're gonna just be volunteer elite units for fighting for angels and Jesus Christ. All right, I'm quoting. It is extremely important to me that I was given the opportunity to form the first Polish special unit in Ukraine. End quote, the organizers. The Russians claimed these guys were fighting already as volunteers in Ukraine, but hey, the Russians are lying, right? Whose name was withheld from security reasons, told Onet. And I'm quoting, Poland is the country that supports Ukraine the most, he added. And I'm quoting again, I am sure that our unit will be a model for our similar formation. Other countries, I have the list here if you want, helped the war, the Germans, the most. So I wouldn't be really proud about that. The Ukrainian collaborationist forces were composed of an estimated number 180,000 volunteers serving with the units scattered all over Europe. This is at the Wehrmacht, foreign volunteers. So the Ukrainians were around helping a little bit here and there, correct? Correct. And I have something more here. Some Polish citizens of diverse ethnicities served in the Wehrmacht and SS Waffen-SS, and the estimate conservative at 295,000 based on documentary evidence. All right. However, they say no, yes, but then they say, well, the German authorities assumed those classified blah 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 were in fact mostly ethnically Polish, and marked their military documents with Poles. Like this guy's going to mark them with Polish volunteers, and they will speak, I don't know, English or French. I'm just, BSing, you know what I mean? But here you can find what countries fought for the Waffen-SS. As I said, there are a lot of countries that now pretend to be on the side of the good, and I'm going to use them right here. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, remember? Romanians were over there, Poles right here, you see Poles, Hungarians, British citizens were over there, Great Britain right here. I mean, let's don't fool ourselves, all right? As I said, people are people, and they have preferences and not motivations they have. And I say that the Polish underground are similar. The early 1944 estimates by the Polish underground are similar. 400,000 to 450,000 Poles from Reichsgau, Danzig, West Prussia and Silesia. Oh, you can say, well, those were Germans. Well, marked their military documents with Pole. Anyway, some of them were German, obviously. I'm not going to be a tard here. And not only that. Okay, so, and he says, I am sure that our unit will be a model for other similar formations. Yes, and there is one right here. At least a German unit is also being raised according to the outlet. There are already 2 legions of foreign volunteers in Kiev's service, one from Russia and another from Belarus. And he says it's much easier with Poles than with Belarusians and Russians who come from the enemy countries. Okay, good for you. The unit's members are planning to set up a recruitment center in Poland. But this has not yet been agreed with the Polish authorities. All right, and they say, while official of Warsaw has not yet to comment, the Twitter account Visegrad24 reportedly ran by the Polish government cheered the news of the legion. Well, you can agree. It said, latest nation to form its own legion of volunteer in fighting for Ukraine. Okay, well, good for you. So we have here another thing. Poland has also turned a blind eye to its nationals enlisting in the Ukrainian military, where over 1,200 had lost their lives as late November, according to the outlet, and this is a Polish outlet, that is critical of the Polish government. Is let's try it. Niezależny Zdziennik Polityczny. Okay. Anyway, this is critical of the government in Warsaw, claimed that a new American-style cemetery at Olsztyn was interred for more efficient burials amid the rising numbers of casualties. So anyway, it's just a little piece of information. Volunteers are volunteers. If they want to volunteer for whatever stupidity, that's their right. Good or bad, that will be determined after the stupidity occurred. Because I'm pretty sure the Poles or the Ukrainians or whatever, the Romanians who enlisted in the SS or in the Wehrmacht, SS Waffen and Wehrmacht, they thought they fight for a good cause in their brain, and they had some benefit fighting over there. They have various reasons why they go and volunteer to fight someone else. So the same here. These people that will volunteer for Ukraine have different reasons, not only a big heart and this. Good for them, but they have the right to do it. And I'm pretty sure those guys who volunteered in the SS Waffen, they thought they were doing the right thing, like these guys think they were doing the right thing. But after the war, what do you think that happened with people that survived? Some of them changed their mind, didn't it? Anyway, I think the volunteer things, which I predicted about a month and a half ago, I have a feeling that this will be used, as I said, by regular military from other countries going in Ukraine under the name and the signature and the paperwork of volunteers from Poland or from everywhere else. As I said, free will, and you do whatever you want with your life and your destiny. And if you have the desire to go and fight for Ukraine or for the right or for the justice, there you go. Do whatever you feel. Free world, right? Yep. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.